Johnson, Cheryl Hartman, Chris Lounsbury, Jason Emery, Juanita Vero, Melissa Fisher, Violet Plummer, and M. Katz.
Great, thanks.
And in the room, we have Commissioner Strohmeyer and Slotnick. We have Dylan Jacks. We have Emmy Bristow, Carrie Powers, and myself, Annie Cathy. All right.
Awesome. Do we have any public comment on items not on the agenda? Just need to point out that Yellowstone Public Radio misattributed you to the city council.
I don't hear.
On the consent agenda, do we have anything that anybody wants to pull out and talk about? There's only one item.
I move to pass the consent agenda.
Nice.
Go look
Woo!
at
Oh,
Juan beams in.
I will say
Nice kitchen.
in the kitchen.
Nice.
Rita, are there skunks under the building still?
Next building over. We gotta get them gone by Saturday.
All right, any public comment on this? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
I
thanks. Okay, Bryce is our first presenter.
Yeah, I feel really special today.
Our only presenter.
Over the agenda.
Holy moly, it's the Bryce Show.
Yeah, apologies, I can't be there. I have to run into a second grade school concert right after this. So,
Oh, are you on that show, the weed specialists with coffee and cars? I think it was a YouTube thing.
we'll start that up. All right. So the first two agenda items that I have are pretty similar. They're both Noxious Weed Trust Fund grant contracts with Department of Agriculture. The first one is for our Clark Fork Vegetation Management Area, which is $64,120. And that is a collaborative that we have with Granite County, Powell County, Butte, Silverbow, and Anaconda to do treatments for high priority species all along the upper Clark Fork River, kind of in conjunction also with DEQ and the work that they've been doing in the upper Clark Fork. They've, they've invested upwards of $300,000 a year in invasive species work in their project areas. And so we've been continuing that work downstream from there. So this is a contract to provide, or a grant to provide funding for additional work there. The second one is for the Montana Biocontrol Project, which we house through our department, and it's for $135,750 over the next 3 years to provide, the services that they provide to land managers across the state.
Great. Yeah.
I would move that we approve items 1 and 2.
Any public comment on items 1 and 2? All right, all in favor?
I seconded
A
Dave
second.
and then. Right.
Nice job. Okay.
Thanks so much, Bryce.
Thanks, Bryce. Bryce, are you going to the same concert as Allison?
Yes, I think I am.
Missoula's hottest show.
It is
Everyone's
Missoula's
gonna be
hottest show. Yeah. I hope the scalpers didn't nail you guys.
Yeah, well, I'm holding down the parking lot right now. I'm going to sell my parking space.
That's good.
All
right.
So the next item on Montour Creek vegetation management for $12,000. So every year we get right around $25,000 from MDT to coordinate locally with a commercial applicator to do weed treatments on their right-of-ways. This work in particular will be on Highway 83 and on Mullen Road. This spring on 83, it's between Sealy Lake and Falls Creek Road. So I can't remember the mile markers off the top of my head. And then on Mullen Road, it's between Flynn Lane and Frenchtown. For, this is very targeted weed work based on mapping that Jed has done in our office. So it's not broadcast treatment. It's focused on the specific species that we have in those sites.
What are the species, Bryce?
It's a pretty broad spectrum. Leafy spurge, oxeye daisy, hound's tongue, a little bit of knapweed, a little bit of St. John's wort, and I think along Mullen, there's a little bit of Canada thistle that we're focusing on as well.
Awesome. Okay, I know the Sealy folks have been asking about this, so this is great.
Yeah, it's
Or
been a little
83
tricky up
folks.
there because there's so much work under construction now.
Mm.
And there's typically a 2 to 3 year window after a construction project that stays outside of the maintenance division and is managed through new work. So that's like the work between Clearwater Junction and where they're working now on Salmon was just released last year. And so we did some treatments in there, but it can be kind of confusing which division within MDT is responsible for the right of way.
Got it. Thanks. I'm sorry, I moved to approve the PSA with Montour Creek Land Management.
All right, any public comment? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thanks.
All right, and that last one, I am glad you approved the first one because it's a contract with WMA Weed Management Specialist to expend those funds on treatment of perennial wet pepperweed and leafy spurge along the Clark Fork River. Like I said, we're taking on a lot of the space below where DEQ is putting a lot of investment in the restoration work up there. Perennial pepperweed seems to be mostly located within that Deer Lodge Valley. And so we're hoping to control it before we see a lot of those propagules down into Missoula County. We treat internally a lot of the perennial pepperweed or all the perennial pepperweed that is in Missoula County. This work is focused on roughly 82 miles from the Warm Spring Ponds down to the Missoula Granite County line. And we'll cover about 110 acres of, again, targeted spot treatment below the high water mark along the Clark Fork River.
That's a lot of land for $63,000.
It is a lot of land. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You're going up and down this individual stretch multiple times to pick up all of the back channels where the stuff tends to hide. And you have to do it pretty quickly. So they have a fairly large crew that they have out there in a very narrow window of time.
So Bryce, how does this work in terms of cooperation with other counties? And are we talking Powell County, part of Granite, or?
Yep. This treatment work is almost exclusively within Powell and Granite County. And so we work with those weed coordinators and the extension agent in Granite County to coordinate with the Riverside landowners, especially, so they're aware when the commercial applicators are coming through. They handle a lot of those relationships. The reason leafy spurge is incorporated into this project is that it's a high priority species for the Powell County and the Powell County land managers right near the river. So we handle the funds and the contract for this particular component, but they're doing a lot of the mapping and some of the touch-up work once it gets outside of the high water mark.
And is the reason for that those counties just don't have the capacity to administer a grant?
They do have the capacity, but I think we have kind of streamlined it a little bit more. And so they had agreed that it would work better for us to carry the grant.
Okay.
Glad we can do it.
Okay, I would move that we approve the PSA.
Second.
Any public comment on this? Great, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thanks for all this good stuff, Bryce. So this is great work.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I'll
Good
see you
job.
this afternoon.
Bye. Kyla.
Isla is not with us.
Okay.
So I said we'll go ahead and answer any questions or explain what this one is. The Horse Council's nomination was Carla Nitschwander for representation, and that's who they're suggesting. If you I have something I can read about the Big Sky Park Stewardship Committee if you'd like me to do that, but
I have no recollection of ever having appointed someone to the horse council.
I don't either.
so.
Oh, thank you, Dave, because
I don't either.
Yeah.
I have no memory of this.
The Big Sky Stewardship Committee is a Missoula County Advisory Committee that provides recommendations to the Parks and Trails Advisory Board and the Board of County Commissioners on the management of Big Sky Park and Target Range. The Big Sky Park Stewardship Committee is comprised of members, representatives from each of the organizations who hold maintenance and management agreements with the county for recreational activities at the park, as well as members representing the neighborhood. Big Sky Park bylaws require affirmation by the commissioners of agreement holders representatives. The Horse Council has selected Carla Nichwander as their representative.
So you're pointing to the Big Sky
So-
Park,
You are, yeah,
And
Stewardship
it sounds like the
committee.
horse council has a
as a
seat
person they would
Yes.
like to nominate to be on that.
yes.
and like they have the horse council has a spot or a seat or a space.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Because the horse council is, if I recall correctly, my horse park history,
That you know, or
which
that
I
is.
do know. When the horse park was created in the 80s, at the time, there were many like breed associations and like 4-H groups in town that helped to create the facilities that are there
Okay.
today. That has sort of condensed into what we know as the horse council. So the horse council is independent of the county. That's why you all probably aren't familiar with it, because it isn't like a council, like a community council would be. It's kind of an association of local equestrians.
And so on the
Club.
when we created the Big Sky Park Advisory Board, we made sure there was a space
Yes,
for someone from the horse council, and whoever they appoint just is that person.
yes. To speak on behalf of equestrian activities within.
Got it. All right. Well, who are we to stand in the way of this?
I'm thinking we appoint a mountain biker.
I think that'll create
A
good.
dog walker, a dog walker.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I would move that we approve their nomination of Carla Nichwander.
Second.
All right, any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Welcome, Carla. Thanks for the history.
Yeah.
Yeah,
background.
and if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that I know Carla's daughter, who is a well-noted horse trainer in town.
Wow.
Very well known,
Yeah.
very, very successful.
Have you and Juanita horsed together?
We have not horsed together.
We've talked horses, but no,
Yes,
we
we've
haven't
talked
horsed
horses.
together.
No,
Right.
whenever you need me, Juan, I'm here. We've been on public record now.
Awesome.
All right, do we have any correspondence? Anything else? All right, thanks for coming all the way up. I'm glad you didn't have to walk that far tonight. All right, I guess we're done.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.